Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be moving this Camponotus Cinctellus colony into a medium Gen 2 wakooshi outworld. As you can see, they need this upgrade badly, as they've outgrown their current outworld. I also can't even add any more test tubes, as well they're on the lid and they're on top of all the test tubes, so if I did add any in, it would crush the ants, which is a big no-no. And unfortunately, this colony doesn't want to move into their nest as they've blocked it off with sand, which is kind of annoying as well. That's what I put it there for, but that's besides the point. As well, I'm going to have to move them into the outworld one by one. Because they're on the lid, it also means that I can't feed them or give them any sugar water, so the colony won't grow and the ants will be very hungry. They've always been able to go on the lid, but because of their small colony size in the past, they didn't because, well, they didn't need to. But now they're bigger and trying to expand into some more territory. This is the outworld I'll be moving them into. As said before, this is the Gen 2 wakooshi medium outworld, also known as the S2 outworld. I've had this outworld for years and it survived tests and multiple colonies fairly well. I'd recommend this outworld as it can support small colonies, but it's also large enough to support medium to large colonies depending on the species, and can fit large test tubes, which is something that I wish basically every outworld could do, but obviously some are smaller and can't. But it is what it is. Connected to the outworld is one of my own nests, which I've designed and 3D printed. It was in a few other videos, maybe one or two, I think for the fed Shenkoi, and the nest also has 2 connection ports, so I can expand a lot easier. Now you may recognise this outworld, and yes, it is what the Camponotus were in. However, I moved them out as they lost a worker and weren't doing very well in there. Currently the Camponotus are in a test tube in the queen drawer. They're doing fine. They have a worker and some eggs and larvae, but I'll make a video on them in the next few weeks to months. Okay, so now I'm going to move the ants into the setup. Because there's a lot of them and they're on the lid, I need to move them hand by hand with these featherweight tweezers from ANTS HQ. If you don't have any featherweight tweezers, get them. They're so useful, like probably one of the best tweezers you ever get. But now that's out of the way, if you don't want to watch this, skip to exactly 6:02 as it will take a few minutes. I have a challenge for all of you willing to stay though. If you're still here, then I want you to count every ant I move by the tweezers, excluding at the end with the test tubes, so with the bigger tweezers, so only the featherweight tweezers. Just again, it's only the ones that I move with the featherweight tweezers, and by the way, there are a few moments where I pick up 2 ants, so I've counted those as 2 as well. And the first person to comment the correct amount of ants in the comments wins. I'll pin your comment and give you a gift card of your choice. The gifts range from a £5 gift card for one of either wakooshi, aesthetic ants, Ants R Us, or I can send it to you through PayPal. If you do win, of course, I'll get in contact with you about the gift cards or payment. And good luck. Now you got your guess? Leave it in the comments below. Just a hint, it's over 100. So now the colony is moved in fully, and every single worker is accounted for. There was one test tube that was left in the outworld, but it was completely filled with rubbish, so I just cleaned it out and put it with the rest of my test tubes. Now, since it's been a few days since I've been able to properly maintenance this colony, I'm going to give them some water in the corner where the sand mound is, so they can either choose to dig in it or just drink it, but either way it should hold them off until I get them a fresh test tube filled with water. I'll also water the sponge in the nest so it's a bit more humid and more favourable for them. I found the first few times that these sponges specifically get hydrated, they seem to be unable to hold much water, so after about a week or so it should get a lot better. I applied the PTFE barrier the day before moving them in so that the isopropyl alcohol vapours in the air could disappear and not kill the ants. A very important step when making your own PTFE is to make sure that no ants or a very little amount of ants are near the barrier, or you need 100% ventilation, as the homemade PTFE can kill ants when exposed for too long because of the alcohol. But anyways, I think it's time to feed these girls as they've went the past few days without food while I prepared the setup. I'll start by giving them a freshly malted mealworm cut in half and pre-killed. These are their favourite as it's super easy for their mages to cut them up and eat them a bit easier. I won't give them too many mealworms like how they used to have before, as I'll let them settle into their new outworld, and then once they're finally settled in I'll start giving them about 2 to 3 every 2 days, which is what their old schedule was. Last time you saw these guys, they were a lot smaller, but now they've grown and it honestly hasn't been that long, but they've got tons of mages and they're kind of using them as repletes, which is good to see. Which reminds me, actually, they were my Ants parody video, so if you want to see another Ants parody video, tell me in the comments below, or if you want to see another parody of a different ant YouTuber, tell me in the comment below as well. But enough of that, time to give them some sugar water so these workers can finally fill up. After about a day, the workers have warmed up to the new nest and are even starting to store brood on top of the test tubes. And I think the day after, the queen was on top, which is really cool to see. As well, if the queen is feeling safe enough to go on top of the test tube, they must feel safe in there as well. I mean, the queen is the most valuable member of the colony, so if they're putting her in the open like that, they must feel very secure. I'll just leave you with 30 seconds of pure ant footage to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later!